Hey everybody, this is Leslie Rhodey with Braintrust with a record, I can't even say it,
I
Brain
like that marketer's
Trust
brainchild. I kind of like
Child.
that.
Brainchild. It could be a brainchild as opposed to a love child. Anyway, so here we go. So Marketer's Brain Trust. So my name's Leslie Rhodey, and we have the entire trust, I guess, or the brains, whatever. So I think from left to right on your screen, there's probably Corey and Corey Burke, and then there's Dan Thies in black and white because he hasn't paid his color bill. And then there's
in months.
In months, and then Michelle Chen Sangthong, which I've only now figured out how to say properly.
Well done.
Thank you. Yes, very good. And so today we have, according to the page that you signed up on, the title of the hangout is TBD. That seems to be a little odd. We did actually change that, but oh well, didn't actually take. So for those of you who thought it was wonderful to show up, and there's a lot of you. So apparently we're gonna have to write this up, Dan. TBD works. It's kind of one of Frank's deals, like, hey, the winning subject line was hey. So maybe the winning webinar title is TBD. Could happen. I don't know.
Because they don't want to take a chance at missing something that might be good, but they don't know what it is, so they can't not show up.
Exactly. I mean, they'll stay just as long enough to figure out whether we start on time. Okay, so, but as it turns out, it is not TBD, it is already BD. And that is, Dan, I think you're covering some cool Facebook stuff. Yes?
I think I'm covering some cool Facebook stuff, yes.
All right. And so do we have any, I haven't even looked at our curated notes from this last week, but have you? If not, we can just move on. But if you have, is there anything of noteworthy in the notes?
More Google Mobile-geddon sort of showing up for people that asked for it to show up, and for the people that asked for a blessing by getting their stuff together. Lots of folks have suddenly gained a big share of mobile that they didn't have before because, somebody just didn't feel like keeping up, and they did, and so they won.
Yeah, and in fact, I just talked to one of our, actually is now a new content marketing client last week. Last week? Yes, and he saw like right on schedule, right when the Mobile-geddon happened, he saw a big bump. And he scrambled to get it done before the Mobile-geddon, so good for him. So anyway,
and it certainly looks like it didn't roll out exactly on April 21st, so they may have actually taken that because the web certainly took that as this is your last day to get it right. They may have waited a couple days to roll it all out.
Yeah.
But
well, it may be the whole data center flux anyway, right? I mean, you can't do instantaneity doesn't really exist. I mean,
I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook. It's like, when do you think they're going to flip the switch? Well, if it's going live tomorrow, they already did. And they're in bed.
Fair point. Yeah, it reminds me of rollover, where my wife was on call to watch Indonesia, the factories in Indonesia roll, which was whatever the hell I was, 8 o'clock in the evening or whatever in Portland, Oregon. So, so you get to watch this whole rolling update thing. But anyway, moving on. So, good. Mobile-geddon.
Mobile-geddon and mobile breadcrumb-geddon. So they're not showing the URLs, they're showing the breadcrumbs, and of course now everybody's scrambling to remember how to control what goes into the breadcrumb. I'm sure somebody's got something up on Moz or Search Engine Land that we'll find when we go through the notes on how to do that. But kind of everything I work on, we already dealt with that question a while ago, so I haven't gone looking through the list either.
Interesting. Well, we should at least, we should probably search that internally and make sure our clients are...
Well, one of my immovable blocks that has to get done every week is to go through the research report from the research librarian that we paid to do research. But I was expecting to do that yesterday, and we had 3 new clients to take care of all at once, so that kind of made that not the
Yeah.
high priority item for then. But I'm going to be in Austin for a couple of days this week, so I'll have plenty of time sitting around to catch up because I'm going to the Witch Test 1 live event.
Yeah, and you and I think Corey, you're doing that as well, are you not?
I am.
Corey's going.
Hot dog. All right,
We're
well,
bringing our own private kung fu master with us.
Phil's going?
Yeah.
We didn't say
nice.
that, and you were never here to hear it because we deny everything.
Well, but that's okay. He's a kung fu master. No one will actually
But
see him.
it is in no way a conspiracy to raise a kung fu army to attack your dojo, so don't worry about it.
It's a dojang in my case, but never mind. Moving on from there.
Toe jam.
Dojang. Toe jam? Really? You just said toe jam?
Right. Come on, let's go.
All right, let's go. So, Dan, you actually have a prepared presentation instead of the silliness we're engaging in, so let's get into that.
Yes, correct. I have prepared a presentation, and this is a variation of another presentation that I've given to other folks. And so, well, let me get the screen sharing thing going here so that I can share my screen.
And let me go ahead and present you to everyone, which I've just done.
You have presented me to everyone.
Yeah, even people not on the Hangout, by the way. I think your podcast
The
national.
UI is a little bit weird. It says you're presenting to everyone. Stop.
Yeah. Bad sales, page. But anyway.
Yeah, so let's see. Okay, so I'm sharing my desktop because that's the fun way to do this. That actually.
Yeah, the Hall of Mirrors.
Works.
Yeah, let's go to the Hall of Mirrors. I love
Through the
that
looking
effect.
glass. Okay, and now I go to the PowerPoints because I'm on the PowerPoint for this one.
Nice, awesome, way to go, retro.
Not using the Keynote. I'm using the PowerPoint. And the new one Microsoft has is really cool, by the way. Anyway, so, so this is, like I said, it's a variation of something that we're teaching in the Universal Traffic Engine 2.0 training that's going on right now. And this is part of what we call the UTE playbook. And the playbook is, well, it's essentially a set of templates for campaigns that you can link together and use together to do different things. And so I'm going to show you how to link a couple of campaigns together here to increase the effect of one of them. And we call that amplification. And in this case, we're going to talk about using Facebook for amplification of an email campaign. And so the amplification is one of what we call kind of the three core campaigns that we run. So we run amplification campaigns, which means that we've got something going on in one channel and we would like to get more out of that. So we have some profitable marketing activity that we're running, and we'd like to increase the results of that by using or bringing in another channel. Onboarding campaigns are where we have people in one channel, so you might have an email list and you'd like them to also be fans on Facebook, and so you can run campaigns that help you do that, preferably something that actually makes you money along the way. And then there are audience building campaigns, which I believe Leslie and Corey have both spoken about quite a bit here, but we also use sort of a generic campaign template similar to what they do in a more specialized way for SEO, but they're using an audience building campaign for SEO, for content marketing. But there's actually a lot of other ways that you can use that same type of campaign to help you build lists of people that you can run ads to profitably. Anyway, Facebook amplification is a fairly simple thing to do, and so it's something that is very amenable to us explaining it to you step by step. And so the steps here, you're going to have to do a little bit of preparation with your data. You're going to have to get some data out of your email application. You're going to have to create a custom audience on Facebook. Then we're going to create some posts and some ads, and you can set up and run the campaign. I'm going to assume a few things before I go into this about you. And if those things aren't true, that doesn't mean you should just bail out here, but also consider that you might not actually be the one doing it. We understand that. So we are going to talk about this from a strategic perspective as well as not so much of a technical perspective. So here's the scenario. So you're making money by doing some kind of a marketing activity. You are running what we call a profitable promotion. For example, let's say you send out an email once a month. Leslie, that's your chance to go.
Well, but wait a minute. Whoa. But wait a minute. Are you saying that we're going to eliminate anybody who's not actually doing marketing? Is that right?
No, they're going to eliminate themselves eventually, but this is actually a great way to get started if you're not doing any email marketing. When you see what we can do here, you'll say, you know what? I'm going to restart my email marketing, but I'm going to do this so that I get more results out of my email marketing. In fact, a friend of ours that ran a campaign for a company that had let their email list go dormant ran a little test that a variation of this kind of campaign actually tripled the revenue from the email that they sent out, and it was a very simple, cheap thing to do on Facebook, and I doubt they spent more than 10 minutes setting it up. So, but yes, the scenario here is that there's some kind of marketing activity you're engaged in, and in this example, we're going to use an email. So let's say you send out an email once a month, once a week. You send out an offer. So you're signaling, in the terminology that we use in the Universal Traffic Engine, you are signaling your offer to an audience. In this case, this is an audience that you are able to signal to via a single channel by email. Now, so when you send out an email that says, hey, we're having a sale, or gosh, we're almost out of red widgets. If you want one, now's your last chance to get a red widget. Some people aren't going to see that email at all, right?
Yeah, most of them probably. I mean, they've asked me. Well, it depends on the size of your list, but yeah, if you're getting 20% open, you're doing great.
So most people will not open it. A lot of those people that don't open it will have seen it, but they won't necessarily be going, "Yay, I really want to open this email." Some people will see it and be interested, intrigued. Maybe your subject line got them halfway to opening it, but then the phone rang or there was a kitty or whatever, right? They may never come back to that because there's another pile of junk showing up on top of that in their email, right? This is a channel where the level of response declines fairly rapidly. We can actually take advantage of the fact that your email is going to get most of its action on day one to make a more focused amplification campaign for it, in fact. But some people will see it and they might have, but they didn't. And of course, other people's will open it and click and act and do all that kind of stuff. Now, if you'd like to get more of the good out of all of those, that is, cause some of the people that wouldn't have seen it to see it, cause some of the people to see it to feel better about it, cause some of the people that see it but were busy to go back and get it a second time, and cause more of the people that open and clicked to actually take the action that you want them to take, then listen up. So here's how this works. You sent a signal to an audience, and again, so what if you sent the same signal again? So if you just emailed twice in a row instead of once. So you email today and say we're almost out of red widgets. You email tomorrow and say we're going to be out of red widgets in half an hour.
I don't know, half an
hour. So if you sent the same signal, the same offer to the same audience again, would your response increase, or would the few people that are mad to get a second email be able to go back and subtract the money that you got from all of the people that actually took the action that you wanted?
I don't know. We could open that up as a survey, but it would take like
They do not have that power, Leslie. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Einstein, speed of light, all that, they can't do that. It's too late. By the time they want to take somebody else's money away from you, that other person has already given it to you. They simply cannot beat the speed of light. And well, okay, so what if at the same time that you got them on one email address, you also had another email address, and so you sent it to them through that second email address? Increase the response? Yes.
Yes.
If you sent them a text at the same time, then you're one of those text marketers. Don't ever try that with me, by the way. But if they'd asked, right, and sometimes people will. If you sent that message by more channels, what's going to happen? Well, more people are going to get it. More people are going to take action. And again, the people that open the email will be more likely to click if they saw it more than once. They're going to be more likely to act after they click if they saw it more than once. This is just a simple matter of, unless your message actually subtracts from their desire for what you're offering, don't do that. Then you're going to get an increase by amplifying your signal, by echoing your signal. But what if all these efforts were actually coordinated, right? What if there was for example, when people do product launches, everybody's got their own kind of idea of what the right sequence is and what the right timing is and all that kind of stuff. I think most of it boils down to sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't, because external events kind of control you on a big product launch. But when you have control of everything, and you can measure everything, then you can optimize it, right? So you can test what happens if I take a segment and I run my amplification for 3 days instead of 2 days or 1 day.
And so I think what you're saying, Dan, is it's like more touches and more impressions might actually result in more sales. Is that true?
Yes. Now here's the problem, Leslie. So when we teach this essentially in stages. So when we implement this with clients, we implement this in stages. We do not do everything all at once. And so what we're going to start with today here is the very, very simple kind of core process that is the amplification. and then I'll show you kind of how we would expand out from that, but we're not going to go down into that rabbit hole today. But just to understand what I'm going to show you today, you can actually go out and put together and test and run. And so here it is, phase one of our implementation in phase one. So the first time you do this, you'd want to just do phase one. This is the core amplification campaign. We have two channels. The one in blue is blue for Facebook. The one in green is green for email, and we just picked that because we couldn't think of anybody that green would be stepping on. And plus, email makes you lots of money if you would just send it. And so you're going to send an email.
Red's bad. I mean, just on its face, red's bad.
Actually, we use red for AdWords. So
okay.
Red is great, yeah. but danger.
Danger. Yes.
Right. You're playing with actual fire and not a lookalike audience of fire in Facebook. So this is the core amplification campaign. So instead of just sending that email offer that takes somebody to a landing page where they do something, you run an ad on Facebook at the same time. And so horizontally here is supposed to represent time, sort of, but it's also weird. Anyway, but these two things are going to happen at the same time. So the minute your email goes out, your Facebook ads come up. You can actually test whether that's the right perfect timing, but it's close enough that we haven't found anybody where we wanted to go back and test the timing. There's other places where you're going to test stuff, and this isn't one of the more productive places to test. So just have them start at the same time. So you're going to send an offer out by email, and you're going to launch a Facebook campaign at the same time. Well, now if I just ran ads on Facebook to just anybody, well, that wouldn't be necessarily amplification. That would just be I sent an email and I ran a Facebook ad for the same thing at the same time. But if I don't do it to the same people, then I'm not really amplifying. Now, you might get some overlap and get some accidental amplification, but we like to do things intentionally as much as we can. And so, well, go ahead, sure, Dan. This is phase 4. So this is what we call the preamp. So in phase 1, what we're going to do is send an email and put up an ad at the same time, and those will fire at the same landing page. And then later we'll add remarketing lists, and then later on we'll add the preamp, where we actually run a teaser offer to a landing page, and we run a warm-up ad. But there are so many different ways to do the preamp thing. This is actually a specific chart of a specific client's campaign that I'm getting ready to use. This is a fairly elaborate template. So, but no, let's just think about the simple thing right now, okay? Later, you can do this and get more, but this is where people screw up. So we show them all this stuff, and they try and get it all implemented all at once. And the fact is, you can implement this in stages, and the things that you learn from the data that you collect at each stage. So we've actually got this sequenced. Phase 2 is actually a test that runs exactly this, but we split it up and run different kinds of campaigns on Facebook to see which of the campaign types gets us the most boosty boost in our results. So
give us a real example. I mean, obviously, don't name the client. We don't do that. But
okay, here, sure. So we've got a client that sells apparel items.
Okay.
Things that people wear, and those people buy those things, and then they ship them to them, and then those people wear those things around.
Sure.
So it took the longest to get them to even try this, okay? But what we had them do is they do these flash sales. So it's a big, like a 24-hour sale, right. And they only do it to their customers. So they don't offer these prices out to just any old mope out in the world. They only offer these prices to people that have bought from them before. And so they email, they come up with a flash sale. Usually it's because they've got too much of something or whatever, right? But they email that out, and it goes to a landing page where people buy it. And that's what they were doing before. So all we had them do was just take the first paragraph of the email, put that on a link post on Facebook, pointing to that same landing page, and throw some money at it as a boost.
Now, no, you did also have to get an image, and you went and branded an image. So
Or we would just grab the image off the landing page.
Gotcha. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Gotcha.
It's a link post.
Yeah.
So a link post will prefer to pull either the OG image from the tags on the landing page, which is ideal, or it will give you a choice of images from the page that you can choose from to choose.
Right.
I didn't actually do that part. I didn't actually click the mouse.
So, I wonder who did. Gee, I wonder if starts with M.
I don't know who did, because this was done by someone you don't know.
Oh my God! Here we go. Anyway, moving on.
They did a good job. But so this was the first time they tried it, and it was the biggest email flash sale that they had ever. So. But they didn't split it up so that they could actually test and measure the effect of the amplification. So they thought, well, we did give them a really good offer, so maybe it was just a really good offer, and they didn't do it the next week, or the week after that. And then we finally got them to do it again, and what happened? It was the biggest flash sale they'd ever had.
Their audience had even grown larger in the interim, right?
Well, also, their open rate had been better, right? So now you've got more people that are back engaged and paying attention to your offers again, right? So, your open rates will be good as long as you make yourself welcome, and make sure that people do open it, right? You can actually take a list that's not getting a very good open rate and use amplification to increase the open rate over time, along with everything else, because everything, all the good stuff does get increased when you amplify and use two channels. And the cool reason why we do it on Facebook is we can throw a very small budget ad. You can do, we had a $12,500 and some change flash sale that was $80 in budget for the amplification, compared to doing $3,000 to $4,000 in a normal week. I mean, this, what's that, 1% went into of the revenue went into the increase, went into the boost. It's a ridiculously cost-effective way to do it. It really is. If you make money by sending email, this is such a no-brainer that if you're not paying attention now, get somebody that does care about your business to do that. So now you don't necessarily have to go this far. This is kind of phase 4 and phase 5 are where we really kind of get to start to see potentially diminishing returns on the amount that we can increase just by changing the way that the plumbing works. At that point, you hopefully are well into testing different things in your offer, different messaging styles, different types of campaigns. That is in terms of, we might be not offer a sale all the time. We might use something that we're going to have available for a limited time instead of just always offering a discount. And of course, sometimes it's really about getting people into a marketing sequence that sells them something else. Sometimes what you're trying to sell is just get a lead or permission from somebody to tell them more about something. And in those cases, you really will want to have all of this plumbing set up and running. For a retailer, you'll be able to get a big chunk of the gain just by doing the very, very simple things. So let's walk you through it. So step by step, we've got to prepare the data, we've got to create the audience on Facebook, we've got to create the posts, and then we've got to set up the campaign. I'm going to focus more heavily on the first parts here, because, well, creating a post or an ad to amplify something is a fairly simple thing. It's just make a post on your Facebook page about it, about the offer, and then go into Ads Manager and give that thing a boost. So doing this adds a lot to any email campaign that you send. So it's a simple matter, but the core things, the KPIs that you're going to see move, you're going to see higher open rates. So if you split test this between two segments, where you take one half of your email list and you mail them without amplification, and you take the other half and you amplify it, and I'll explain how to do that for the folks that know how to run a split test. I'll explain how to make sure you run the right kind of split test for this. you're going to get better open rates, you're going to get more click-throughs on the opens that you get, and you're going to get more conversions. You're also going to get more Facebook engagement. So you're actually going to, all of these campaigns kind of have an audience building effect, right, Leslie? I mean, we noticed that when we first got hold of custom audiences on Facebook and started putting image posts into news feeds, that we were getting massive amounts of likes without ever asking anybody to like us. In fact, in terms of the cost of getting a fan that actually likes you because the stuff you shared is what they like, rather than that you just kept bombarding them with ads, is actually cheaper, and they're worth more down the road. So you get to grow your Facebook audience, and you get a more engaged audience, which means that when they like the stuff that you've got, you'll get more people to share that with their friends and things like that. And you can start to think about that in terms of what content you use in the campaigns, because this isn't throwing ad in people's face. We're using advertising. We're paying to get the message out there, but we'd like to, especially when we're in a Facebook newsfeed, like to actually have the message be something that's welcome and interesting, and the sales aspect of it is just more of an, oh, by the way. But any campaign can be amplified, not just email. So whatever you're doing. And so, as an example that I use all the time, I did a video after SMX a few years ago, when there was the big kerfluffle in SEO about no follow, and Matt announced that they weren't treating no follow the same way, and everybody was freaking out. Well, I was actually the moderator of the panel that all blew up on, and so I did kind of a funny video about that. Well, that video got a mountain of links to it in like a day. And a mountain of traffic in the first 24 hours, and all I did was send email. Now,
and by the way, I should point out, he did not actually announce that. But anyway, moving on.
Announcement. It was funny.
It was, seriously. Anyway.
No, you weren't warned. You want to be warned about what I'm going to do? I don't know. I'll come up with a price where you can be warned, okay? And you can subscribe to my warning channel. Yeah. Otherwise, just expect an occasional nice surprise. Wasn't that a nice surprise? Yeah. Anyway, but I emailed that out to my list, and I emailed a few dozen other people about it, and of course, those few dozen other people blogged about it. And literally within 24 hours, like, everybody inside of Google had seen that video. And it was just, a little funny stuff, having a little fun with Matt Cutts, and the beauty of it was that Matt linked to me. So for those of you that want a trusted link at Google, I don't know if Matt Cutts trusts his own blog, or I guess his thoughts on the matter don't matter at all anymore. But back then, that was a pretty good link to get if you believed in all of that junk, which I really didn't. But all I did was send an email. Now imagine if I had, at the same time I sent that email, also taken the fans of search engine land and SEO and everything else and started a content campaign on Facebook.
Yeah.
Could that video have gotten to 1 million views on YouTube? I don't know, but probably more than anybody else's recent marketing videos have. And so, take something that's doing well and amplify it, and you make a noise that's 10% louder, but you get 30% more, and it doesn't cost that much to do it. So, and it really does. It leverages the relationships that you have, right? You've already got a relationship with your customers. You've already got a relationship with people that are following you on Twitter, or people that are following you on Pinterest or whatever. And when you can reach those people in multiple channels, and through the magic of email hashes and remarketing and all that kind of stuff, you can. But let's talk about how to do this on the Facebooks. So,
well, actually, you know what? It might be actually interesting, Dan, for them to see that post. And so, if you right, even today, what year was that? Damn, that was like forever ago. What year was that?
It was 2009. I know, because we had argument about whether I was going to be representing myself or someone else.
That's right. I remember that.
It was 2010. They were still arguing about it, but
okay. Well, anyway, so if you go into Google today and you type the simple search phrase, Operation Bendover.
Yes. That's the part I didn't warn you about. You
Yes.
did participate in the video by me giving you words to say into a microphone. You just didn't know what those words were going to mean.
No, that's true. No, I was fine with the result. Don't get me wrong. But yes, no, I was saying that Matt Cutts did not actually announce what he was reported to announce. But that's another story.
He didn't actually say what they thought he said.
He said yes. Yeah. Anyway, never mind.
The whole thing was hilariously fun.
Yes. And for all of you who were not there at that time, you really do. As a hysterical perspective, you really need to go watch Operation Bend Over.
Yes, that video single-handedly ended the greatest wave of panic in the history of the SEO industry.
Easily.
Just by popping all of the bubbles all at once. And you get to hear Leslie say, I am a person who does not wish to be identified, and I claim to have knowledge of Google's algorithms.
Well, now you gave it away. I mean, anyway.
Well, now they have to know why you were making that claim.
That's true.
Because it's shocking and bizarre.
And there's a wonderful picture of me, thanks to...
Yes, we understand your dress habits better now.
Moving on.
So, preparing your data, step 1. Okay. Yeah. I know that slide was going to advance. There we go.
Yeah.
So, so in order to do this, you're going to have to actually extract data out of your email application. So, however you're sending your email, you're going to need to get data out of that. Now, you actually have other places you can get this data, by the way. So, if you're mailing to customers, you might also have phone numbers for them, and you might want to use those as well, because some people might have a different email in Facebook than they have. For you, and they might have a different phone number in Facebook than they have for you. But if you can use both of those data points to build custom audiences, you'll actually get more people records to match, and that's the goal here. So if you've got 10,000 people on your customer list, you're not going to find all 10,000 of them with matching records on Facebook that you can show them ads. Now. You might find stuff on the Warrior Forum and stuff like that involves using Facebook user IDs to create a custom audience. Don't do that, okay? Unless you know that you can, because you're a registered app developer who actually has permission to use the user IDs of registered users of your app in order to communicate with them. So yeah, I mean, by the way, if there are reasons to build Facebook apps, and if we were going to get to a phase 9 on one of these, it would probably involve building a Facebook app to get people even more locked in. But for now, I'm going to assume that you've got either email addresses or phone numbers or both. And so you're going to you'll export just a text file with a list of emails or a text file with a list of phone numbers. And if you're doing this for amplification purposes, most of the time you're going to want to either blast this to your full list, or you might split your list up. So the full list is a fairly simple thing to understand. I'm emailing 10,000 people. I'm trying to reach all 10,000 of those people, or however many I can, with ads on Facebook. You can also split that list, and so simply split the list in half. And so you've got segment 1 that you do one thing with, and segment 2 that you do another thing with. It's a very easy thing to do, and you can upload those 2 lists separately, and you can send them separate emails and use different tracking URLs. And so you can actually figure out not just whether this works by not amplifying half of your list and amplifying to the other half of your list, but you can also figure out what type of campaign works better. You can actually test 2 different types of ads and figure out which one gets you a better response by splitting your list in half. And so even if you're not splitting up the list in order to determine whether this works at all, spoiler, it does, you can also split your list to answer other kinds of questions. And so we get people all the time who are like, I don't know if I should be running a website clicks campaign, or should I be running a website conversions campaign, should I be running an engagement campaign. You can actually split it up and test and figure out what the right answer is for the current state of your list, and then you can come back and revisit that test later on to make sure that what you're doing still works. You can also segment your list. So for example, our friends that sell apparel products, they have thousands of customers in their database, and they know what those people bought. And some people bought lower body apparel stuff, and some people bought upper body apparel stuff, and some people bought apparel stuff that goes around the middle, and other people bought apparel stuff that you hang on top of your other apparel stuff, and ones that you wrap around your neck and I won't say tie because that would give away that I was talking about a tie, but
Yeah.
knot, because nobody would call a tie a knot.
No.
But what if they wanted to send out a flash sale and well, have a flash sale on something that person has bought before? Then you could mail out to each of those segments a different offer, and you could also amplify with that same offer to those same people on Facebook. So for now, we're just going to assume that you're doing the full list, full blast. You're going to send one message to every email address in your list, just like you always do, and we're going to just amplify to everyone. That's what phase one is all about. It's about getting the core machine up and running. So with Facebook, it's fairly simple. If you don't know how to do a custom audience, you can literally just Google Facebook custom audience, and Facebook's help pages and instructions are simple, step by step, very clear. I have never bothered to try to improve on them with any of the training that I've done, because I can't show you better than Facebook does. And oh, by the way, they keep their documents up to date, unlike some Google, yeah, some companies.
Googly. Yeah, so it's almost like they want you to be able to use their system in order.
And they want you to do a good job of it. There are lots of stupid things you can do, like targeting a really broad lookalike audience with a like campaign. Facebook tells you don't do that.
Awesome.
And so people say, "Oh, Facebook's trying to scam you." No, Facebook is trying to get you to be profitable so that you'll spend more money with them. They know exactly how this works. So you need to download a CSV file. That's typically the only way that you can download stuff. And what you really want, though, is just a text file. It's going to be either phone numbers or email addresses, and there's going to be one record per line. For you script people, that'll be either a new line or a carriage return. They don't care. And you're going to want a minimum of 20 matching people in Facebook to be able to create that audience. So if you've got a list of over 100 email addresses approximately, and maybe less, maybe more, but over 100, you should at least be able to create the custom audience. A larger list, so if you get the number of people matching over 1,000, you actually get a lot of information in what Facebook calls audience insights that can tell you things about their other interests, all kinds of gender, demographic, and behavioral stuff that you can find out about them. And the larger your audience gets, the more of that data that you get, which gives you a lot more information about how to split and segment your list and how to craft content that they like, even more than the content that you were doing for them before that they already probably liked. And so this is one of those channels where right now I think I've got I would say 18 months, maybe a couple of years before what we're doing down here on the street filters its way up into corporate world, and they start outspending us. Right now is the time to get started, because once you've got the audience and you've got the data, it's really hard for anybody to come and pry them away from you when you can actually market to them this effectively. And so if you have enough people, so if you've got tens of thousands of folks in your list, you can actually segment the list. So first thing, if Facebook lets you target by gender, you don't need to split your email list by gender, because you can just target the custom audience based on your email list by gender in Facebook. So gender, age, the stuff that you would trust Facebook to know, and they can segment by. But you do it by things like products. So they bought these products. So for us, we have interests that we loosely keep track of within Infusionsoft, which is what we use for our CRM. And so, if you've attended a webinar about AdWords, well, then we have a tag that says that you're interested in AdWords. And so if we were going to try and reach different people with different messages, we could target people who are just interested in this or just interested in that. And so we might send something out about AdWords to part of our list, and send something about content marketing to another part of our list, and another part of our list might get something about Facebook. And we can mirror what we do if we can split it up and segment in our mailing platform, and we can show them ads that match the emails that they're getting.
Dan, I would like to return something about in your second bullet point there about the insights. And we've done this, with actually several of our clients, where we take their email list, we upload it to Facebook, and we do some insights in order to verify essentially key components of their avatar. Yes.
Yes. So yeah, you're not necessarily. Well, not at that stage, right? But as part of the onboarding process with the SEO, with the content marketing clients, you want their email list of customers so that you can figure out who they're trying to talk to, and that's something that 5 years ago, the idea that an SEO would ask you for, like, just dump out your email list for me, why, right?
Yeah.
And now I don't know how you can do a good job without it. If they've got one, that's a data point that we absolutely need to be able to calibrate the compass.
However, there is one piece to that, which is you catch the fish that you're using the bait for. So if if their bait is wrong, and we don't want to get them necessarily more crappy.
If their customers are bad, then we want to maybe not use them. But that's why a lot of the time, somebody I was talking with earlier this morning, we're pulling out the top 1,000 in 3 different categories, and that's what we're going to start with as the core list that we're going to market to on Facebook, because we want to be able to get more people like them. Yeah, and so we want to warm up the Facebook conversion pixel to match people like them and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we've talked about Ben Morris before, and some of the things that he does in terms of psychographic analysis, and to Corey's point, what you really want to do is figure out not just like what's the lump. It's like it's 40-60 male female. It's like, oh, okay, that's a very nice number. But now let's talk about who spends how much, where in the country are they, and what are the other characteristics, so we can figure out, oh, well, okay, on average, I don't like the market I'm addressing, but there's a piece of that market that I really need to expand, and that's the kind of let's not get more of the bad ones.
Yeah, and that's the segmenting that Facebook lets you do if you follow the next, go to the next slide, and you've uploaded your custom audience.
Right. There we go.
Segue back, right?
Wonderful segue. Good.
But so when the things that you discover in Audience Insights, though, like you mentioned, Facebook will let you segment by that stuff, because those are data points that Facebook already has, and so Facebook can take your larger audience and then boil it down to the people that actually fit your best buyer criteria based on what you're learning from the data analysis. And you don't have to, by the way, there are other ways to analyze that data besides uploading it to Facebook. The reason why we upload it to Facebook is what we're going to do is find out what affinities they have on Facebook. We don't need to use Facebook to find out how old our audience is and stuff like that. We can get that from other sources that we use. So,
just a real quick example that I've actually come across was, say you have a yoga people, and you already know that they like Lululemon or something of that nature. One of the things that I discovered in Insights was that they liked Mrs. Meyer's cleaning products, which is an organic cleaning product, and that was actually because it showed an affinity to that specific fan page. So that's the kind of deep information you can actually pull from Insights.
And that's the time when you start to say, well, maybe I need to describe my product as organic.
Yeah. Interesting. Organic
yoga. Organic web hosting service. All of our electrons are free-range electrons. Okay.
It's like we've only used hormone-enhanced silicon in the creation of our chips.
GMO-free silicon, right?
Exactly.
Powered partially by wind energy.
That doesn't sound that stupid, really. I mean, there's a reason that Google went to so much trouble to be a green company, right? I mean, seriously. They went to a lot of trouble. They built their own power supplies from the ground up to be 98.5% efficient instead of 95% efficient. There's a whole bunch of things. They've done a huge amount of it has nothing to do with search, right? A whole bunch of outreach about data center design and efficiency and energy efficiency because of being part of being a green company. So,
but when you own half the computers in the entire universe, that's very profit-minded as well.
Yes, I suppose. I don't know. It might not be that.
Okay. Somebody hit Leslie's mute button.
Yeah, all right.
Maybe Leslie. All right. So here's the thing, and so the The toughest thing about this is that it's difficult to, well, it's impossible to fully measure the impact, but it's not impossible to get a sense of what the relative scale is between a list that's amplified and a list that isn't. You can do that simply by splitting your list into two segments. You tag the email links in each segment with, preferably we use Google Analytics, and so we use UTM tags, and that's just use the Google URL builder for that. And so we can actually know which segment an email referral and action came in by, and we can also match up the Facebook ads so that we know what segment they were in there, and then we can measure the results by comparing the performance of those segments. If you run that test, you'll see that I mean, I don't know, probably something between 5 to 10%, and potentially over 100% lift from amplification, depending on the state of things with your list and the size and how many people matched and all that kind of stuff. And then it is unlikely that you're going to want to run that test again, and you'll want to run other tests. You can do all kinds of testing, and I don't want to take you all the way down into the testing rabbit hole, but just understand that if you have a question about how things are performing with an amplified campaign, you can actually do a lot with it. You can also use this to answer questions about which segments of my email list are actually the better performing ones. We can actually do amplifications on all of them and get more data about which of our segments is actually going to deliver the best for us by email. And so anyway, one thing that Leslie, we've seen people screw this up. I think we've seen everyone screw this up,
including us a couple of times, by the way.
Yes,
full disclosure right away.
So just if you've downloaded your list and you're going to split it in half in Excel, don't just take whatever order it's in when you download it. Don't, because that'll be probably in reverse order of when they got onto your list, which means you're splitting half you're sending a split test between people that have been on your list forever and people that just joined your list, which probably isn't a fair test. Nope. Don't sort by name, whatever. Do it like this. So download your list, add a column into Excel, and fill it up with the rand function. There's a link to Excel random number tutorial that shows you exactly how to do that. Fill up that column with random numbers, and then just sort the list by the random number, split it into equal pieces, and then for us that means we upload it back into Infusionsoft and apply the appropriate tag to each chunk, and then we can send mail. Other email platforms are going to have whatever they have to do it. We have to deal with multiple different kinds of platforms with our clients, and so we're used to figuring those things out. But if you have to figure that out, and you can't figure it out, well, then just blast the whole list and amplify everybody. It'll work. Trust me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit less efficient, a little less targeted, but it'll work.
Yeah. Don't split by the first letter of the first name or the date they were added or the domain name of their email. None of that. Those could be treated as segments, but they're not suitable for split testing. And by the way, there's also cool hacks that you can do. Frank Kern's been doing one that sends out it's a whiteboard picture to go watch the video, but on the whiteboard it says, "Hey Bob, go watch this video." When he mails to Bob, and "Hey Pete," when he mails to Pete, and Susie gets a Susie, and Corinne gets a Corinne. It's great. But
a little bit, yeah. Scalable.
And you could, but other than that, don't use those things to split your list up. All right. Okay. And so, just for folks that haven't done this before, find somebody that understands how to help you with this stuff in analytics. But Google does have a URL builder that lets you just put in the URL that you want to. If you just Google URL builder, you'll see this because it'll be the first result. There'll be probably site links, other junk around there to try and get you to it. You just put in the campaign source. For us with email, we use Infusionsoft, and then the campaign medium, we use email, and then the campaign name, in this case, we use something that was a little bit more unique than amplified, but it's just something to identify it as the segment that's being amplified. And this makes the reporting very easy. So you can just look at source and email, so Infusionsoft/email and analytics, and then campaigns are the next level down. So you can look at source medium and then get a list of all of the campaigns, or in this case, that would match up to the email segments and what kind of amplification you've done to them. So it's really, really easy to see the results and get the numbers and figure out which of the tests you're running won. So, creating the custom audience. If you haven't done it before, it's really just go Google create custom audience Facebook and Facebook's results there. If you really want to know which page it's on 170-456-8431-45568 in the help files.
Right, got it. Thanks.
Well, just, everybody, I'm sure everybody's taking notes because I'm talking. So, all right. So, I don't know what's wrong with our short link. I ripped it out because it wasn't working. So if you've segmented for mailing, then you want to segment the custom audience. So if you've got two different segments that you're going to email two different messages, or that you're trying to do some other kind of testing with, then you want to upload and create two different custom audiences and name them so that you can tell which one you're trying to use. It's really quick and easy to do. If you haven't done it before, it's usually 20 minutes, really, 30 to 60 minutes at the most. And while that's processing, you can actually go and create ads. And so what I'm going to recommend that you do in phase one is just create a post about what you're running on your Facebook page. And then you can use the boost from the Facebook page itself, but God, please just go create a business manager account, create an ads manager account, and go into the ads manager and use the page post engagement campaign, which is now called a boost inside of the ads manager as well, to run it. And let Facebook optimize. Okay, so if you're going to be running multiple variations,
hey Dan, that was a really dense sentence.
Good. We'll get back to it in just a minute.
Okay, I'm just saying. It's like if anyone else followed that, I'm surprised.
Well, Leslie, not everybody's one of the slow kids like you, but I thought you pushed your mute button. Are you having trouble finding it?
No, I don't have.
No, you're good. Okay. So when you're running this with maybe multiple ad variations, if you're going to mail to 10 different email segments and they're all going to get a different ad, you don't want to put 10 posts on your Facebook page, right? So if you're doing you're blasting your full list, and if you're going to send them all the same offer and you're going to amplify the same to everybody, then you can just put it on your Facebook page and then boost it to that custom audience that you created, and you're good. Otherwise, you're going to want to use unpublished page posts, and that's actually something that you can do when you're creating the ad in the Ads Manager. If you need details on how to do that, that's at 514-446-411-982-755. Or you can just go type in Facebook unpublished page post, and you'll get a Facebook help page that tells you how to do an unpublished page post. And like I said, Facebook's help pages are awesome, and we've got some busted short link redirects. But if you're only running one, it's schedule the post to start to go live, so you can schedule posts. So go ahead and just schedule it to go at the same time that your email is scheduled to go. Pretty easy to do. If you're doing like a content amplification where you've got a WordPress blog post that's going to go live, and then you're going to email about it, and then you're gonna start running Facebook ads to it. Just bear in mind that if all these things are scheduled to fire all at once, they better all happen all at once, and the most important one to have happen is that the post actually goes live that you're driving traffic to. Don't do what somebody I know did, if one can ever know oneself, and blast out a bunch of email and a bunch of Facebook ads to a 404 page because the post scheduler was busted. Go there yourself by hand and make sure that sucker goes live. I'm just saying, don't trust the WordPress post scheduler. So, with that public service announce out of the way, you can use sidebar ads or you can use newsfeed posts. I highly recommend doing one or the other. A newsfeed post is going to make the most sense. It's not necessarily always going to be the best performer on a cost per click basis. You might actually do better with the right kind of targeting with sidebar ads, but getting sidebar ads and getting the audiences right to actually make those work is a lot trickier. And so for the most part, just a newsfeed post, just a post that's on your Facebook page, or a dark post, and just a link post where you put a link to the landing page, and a little bit of copy to encourage people to go click there, and then pull a nice image either from the landing page if you can. If you can't get a nice image from the landing page, then write the same copy. Don't do it as a link post. Do it as an image post, and get people to stop down and look. That's always, to me, the best place to start with doing this, is start with simple and just something that more or less matches what you're emailing about. Short copy. You're talking about a couple of sentences, not a long novel. Just talk about, actually Ryan Dice, your good friend Leslie, has a template that he uses that you can swipe and use, and I know he's got a template he's using that you can swipe and use because he relentlessly pounds me with ads for that template. And
he's doing what we're talking about, by the way.
Yes, he's doing well, and yeah, I mean, he's definitely doing the phase 4 and phase 5 plumbing too. So, but there's remarketing in there, and there's definitely segmenting of the email list behind the other data that's going on. So fascinating, awesome things happening there. But it's pretty simple. So if you want to make more money with your email campaigns, then watch this video showing you how to amplify them with Facebook. It's if benefit, then action. There I boiled that whole swipe down into one simple thing. You don't need to click that ad. You can just get it right here from me, and I'm sure that's probably going to be good enough. But it's that short. If you love apparel items of a particular type, you're going to love this sale. Click here to preview. And that's one that we're running right now for somebody that is happening 2 days before the sale starts, and that's where we're in phase 4, where we're getting ready to do more of a, it's a very elaborate campaign. We're actually going to tease the sale for 2 days and make people want stuff for 2 days before we offer to give it to them. And we're going to see what that does for us. Normally when we do that, it does pretty well, as long as we can get them to want the thing. And you can use link posts, you can use video posts. So if you've got video assets, so if you've got a teaser video that you might be using right now on a squeeze page to get people to opt in, you can use that same teaser video basically with, chop off the part where you're telling them to give you an email address, and just change the call to action to click to get the thing. And it's the same thing. If you want this, watch this video. And the video has the call to action, and the video text on the video post. The text on the video post has the link there. You can also do something that's really cool. Michelle's been running a bunch of experiments with these, and it's a product carousel. And you can do this in Facebook's Power Editor, or you can do this with a number of third-party tools. Michelle is using Ad Espresso, and I was calling Ads Espresso, and it's not that. It's Ad Espresso. But it's a super awesome tool for managing Facebook ads, and you can create them with that. And Michelle actually figured out through her normal level of extreme cleverness that once she's set one of those up as a dark post, she can share that post onto the Facebook page, and then that opens up all of the different campaign types for product ads, which otherwise would only be able to be optimized for website clicks. So just a little bit of tidbit for you Facebook super junkies out there. Now you know one more thing that you didn't know yesterday, probably. If you want to understand all the different Facebook ad types that you can run and all the different objectives, it's really easy. Facebook.com/business/ads-guide. And this is how you can tell what kind of page you're looking at. If you're looking at a page with a number in the URL, that means it's a help doc. It's instructions. These ones that don't have numbers in them are absolutely just as good. The business section of Facebook where they explain how the ads work, it won't take you but an hour to flip through every page in there if you ever had the time, and it's very tight. When I talk about answer clusters and building tightly linked content, it's such a beautiful example of what you want your website to do for your prospects. But anyway, but also understand you can mix and match the different ad objectives with the different ad types, and you can where you're able to add text to it. The copy can have links, so it doesn't have to be a link post for you to have a link in it. It can be an image post, it can be a video post, it can be any kind of post that has a link in the text in the copy text that you use with it. So I'm going to run through just a couple quick things on how you set up the campaign, and then we'll get some questions. And then if anybody wants to talk about either, how can I do this for my clients, or hey Dan, can you guys do this for me? The answer is yes. We'd love to talk to you about it. Just send me an email if you're interested in talking about it. But the campaign that you're setting up here, when you're just doing this basic amplification, I'm going to go all the way back to the pretty picture here of this. This is running for a couple of days at most. Your biggest goal here is to, aside from getting more out of your email campaign, in terms of what you're hoping to see out of the Facebook campaign, is you're hoping to see a frequency of as high as possible within a reasonable budget. But don't be afraid to start off cheap. Michelle, is it correct that at this time they should set up the campaign to have like a 2-day lifetime and then sell a campaign lifetime budget rather than setting a per day budget?
My current experience is that lifetime budget kind of gets you over the hump of weirdness, and that's my official term. But yes, and so I've kind of moved to all lifetime budgets for all the campaigns I'm running for a while, because then the cool part is if the first day maybe your audience isn't there and you only use half your budget, let's say you had a budget of $20 and you only use $5 the first day, Facebook then reallocates that, and so you still get $15 to use on day 2.
They will go as full blasty blast as they can on the second day, right?
They'll max out that money, which has been a great, I think we were complaining about that last week on the call, and so that's been my resolve.
So the issue is, and if you have $1 million budget on your campaign, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. But what's been happening for the last few weeks with Facebook with super low budget campaigns, if we do a super low budget, and by that I mean $20, $30, $50 a day budget, and it's a day budget. What's been happening is it takes a few days for the thing to ramp up and start working, and for something that we're trying to coordinate the timing on, that doesn't work for us. And so you can set it up as a 24-hour campaign and give it a lifetime budget of how much you want to spend that first day, and they will start spending it really fast. And so that's how you get them to run these two things at the same time: is set up the lifetime of the campaign to be short, and then give the campaign a lifetime budget rather than a per day budget. So anyway, yeah.
Interesting.
But this is it. Do this, and I promise you, you will make more money on your email campaigns. And it won't cost you that much to get that amplification. So if you make money by sending email, do this. And if you can't figure out how to do this, we can help you with that. But this is free money, folks.
And so Dan, if somebody wanted to actually help with doing this, I mean, Dan plus what at Marketing with Braintrust, what would be the good thing to do?
I've decided, Leslie, that I'm going to just use Dan plus Hangout when I'm hearing from people out of the Hangout, so that I know that they've seen the Hangout.
Yeah, there you go.
So if they're asking me about email campaigns, I'll know that they saw the Hangout and also possibly other things. But we're going to be talking about this stuff a lot out in the market, because we think it's a huge opportunity for business owners, and so. That also makes it a huge opportunity for consultants, including us and the many consultants that are, obviously listening in today to learn.
Yeah, good, excellent.
There are a couple.
You started to say something. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. There were a couple things Dan covered on. Definitely make sure you're tracking your emails. I can't tell you how many accounts I've gotten in where you see a huge bump in traffic and it looks like direct, because they weren't tracking their email campaign.
Wow, Hotmail is sure sending us a lot of traffic.
So that would be one thing just to reiterate, because we've seen that a lot with people that we work with. And the other one is, if you're going to use images in your ads, like your Facebook posts, make those images 484 by 252 minimum, and that's 484 width by 252 height. And that's going to pull that image in, and that's the minimum. It can't be any smaller than that on either of those dimensions, or else it's going to be a thumbnail size image, and that doesn't attract the eyeball as much. And then the last piece.
Well, hey, Corey, before you get to the last piece, so does it have to be that aspect ratio if it's larger, or will they resize?
Yeah, it does.
Or what?
No, it has to be that ratio as well.
Right, ratio. Because it can be larger as long as it's the same aspect.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
That's ideal.
What's the next one? Right.
Yeah, and by the way, the Facebook Ads Guide, which I just told everybody to go spend an hour of their life reading, I think I did that. I mean, not the whole hour, but if you're going to do it yourself, then spend the hour. If you're going to have somebody else do it, well, it's their problem to read it, isn't it?
And then Michelle had something on that.
Yeah, I use 600 by 315 as my guideline for those squares because it's an easy number for me to remember for those rectangles for the ads. So 600 by 315.
Right. So not pi or e. So 600 by 315.
That's right. Well, there's fewer numbers. There's only 5 digits to remember. One's repeated. So.
Mine, there's only 4 digits to remember.
Yeah, there we go. So now we have a contest here about which one's easier to remember. So Corey, what was your last point?
And the last piece is be mindful when you use image ads. And I don't know if Dan. If I'm understanding where Dan was using that term, image ad, if you set up an image ad, like you upload an image and then you do a post and people click on that image, it opens up the image in a light box, and you'll see a lot of clicks siphoned into opening up the image that could have gone off to the website had you done it as a post with a link.
Yes, that's true, Corey, but also if you have good copy, good teaser copy on the image post, when that light box opens up, that teaser copy is over to the right of the image with a link. And so if you were going to use an image, you might want to use an image that sort of caused the individual's eyes to sort of drift toward the right side a little bit. So if you're going to put boobs in the image, put them on the right side of the image, not the left.
Or at least pointing to the right.
Yes.
Like pointing to the right.
But or just don't use boobs on Facebook. Come on, people. Like, get creative. Jeez.
Yeah, right. I mean,
I've seen posts where we've helped somebody boost a post, and the image itself gets opened 400 to 500 times, and the link click gets clicked maybe 100, 150 times.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and so you've got to be aware of what the numbers mean when you're looking at the numbers. In Facebook, so holy cow, I got a lot of clicks. Well, yeah, but on an image post, most of those are clicks on the image and not clicks to your landing page.
Well, and guys too, and I'll tell you, I'm working on one right now where I'm actually accumulating for the client unique clicks, website clicks, the conversion pixel firing, as well as the GA clicks, and the range between those numbers is remarkable. And so really it's about seeing what all the data is. You can't just say, ooh, that ad got 80 clicks, because even the website click, between the website click, and we know this because we click on websites and then something happens, the doorbell rings, and we never actually make it to finish that transaction even though we clicked on that website link or that ad. And so it is a pretty interesting spread on what happens between those numbers and paying attention to all the stats that are in there. It's wild.
So I think what you're suggesting there is there's a huge measurement problem.
Well, I think the measuring is good.
I think the problem is that the world is messy.
Yeah, but it's messy, and when you see click, you instantly think, just like in an AdWords ad, if you see a click, you are compelled to believe that someone clicked on the ad to take you directly to the website. On Facebook, a click could be that they clicked on the post, they liked the post, they shared the post, they commented on the post.
Okay.
And or also clicked on the website link.
Gotcha. So yeah, you really got to understand what that means by, what call to action are we even talking about.
Right, and so we're sort of measuring that across all parts. The ultimate measurement for us is how much did we pay to get this person to our landing page, and it may be that it was 100 clicks, but only 8 people actually ended up on the landing page because of all the other interactions. So. Right.
And then that's not to say that those other interactions are of no value.
Oh, they're definitely of value.
They're a different value, like versus a website click. Right.
And when we're doing these, it's a cumulative value, right? Because this is when you're doing things in a series, every time they see your impression, it's one more time. And just like at the very beginning, Dan said, if someone clicks on something, the next time they see it, they're even more. Unless you cause them to want to opt out, right? Yeah. You've primed them.
Even unless you repel them, you've attracted them, right?
Well, there's also the idea that in the ad itself, depending on how you're looking at your tracking, you can drive. When somebody shares it, likes it, comments on it, it shows up on their wall. And so people can go through that link organically and so it doesn't show up in the tracking on the ad itself.
Right, because now that's the organic portion that doesn't even count.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So so what we're saying there is even the numbers we get are conservative in terms of the impact that it has on the person's business.
Depending on how you're measuring it, what you're looking at. If it's something that's highly shareable, like a lot of the stuff we were doing early on with UTE, we were teaching people stuff and it was working, and they were getting 60 and 70% organic reach with the post. Well, none of that shows up in our Boosty Boost stats. It shows up on the page stats, but it doesn't show up in our campaign stats. So you really do, it's just like anything else. Like last year you talked about attribution, taking all these numbers and working together to see what the big picture is, because it's kind of all one big pie.
And you've got all kinds of messy organic echo, right? Somebody goes to your landing page and they navigate around your site and they share a different page on Facebook, and so it's literally impossible to well, we talked about this last week, right? You kind of explained this last week, Leslie, but it's literally impossible for us to be absolutely certain when somebody buys from us how that happened.
Right.
Yeah, right. The best we have is whatever the last bit that was captured in analytics, and sometimes that's the whole thing, and sometimes it's not. Right. I mean, how many of them it shows up as direct, like they just appeared on your website and bought something?
Right.
Well, we know that's not what happened. They came from somewhere, but I mean, how'd they get the address? Were they just randomly typing on their keyboard and lucked into your website and wondering what you want? No. I bet that's never happened in the history of the web. So they heard about you somewhere. They saw a billboard. They saw a bus. They heard it from a friend. They got a text spam from one of your affiliates. You hope not, but I mean, that doesn't necessarily translate into the final thing. I mean, I use Facebook on the phone. I don't use Facebook on my desktop because I want Facebook to be something I do in like 3-minute bursts and then I leave it alone. And so when I see something I want to read on Facebook, and I want to read it later, I want to email it to a particular email address that does that, sets that up for me, right? So that I've just got a big pile of things to read and I don't have to go open them individually. Well, I can't email out of the Facebook app on the iPhone. So what do? I open it in Safari on the iPhone and then I email it from Safari. Is that from Facebook? No.
Yeah. Wow.
That if I ever end up actually going around to click, is going to be direct.
Yep, indeed.
I just showed up on your website and opted into your list. Sorry, pal. I know that Facebook campaign was awesome, but I'm not helping you track that because that's not how I roll. So it's never ever going to be. You're never ever going to be able to figure out everything that you're doing. So I mean, we've got the guys that I mean, they did 3,400 the week before, and they did 12,500 the week they amplified. About 30% of that you can actually attribute to that much came in, that was touched by the amplified campaign. The rest of it we don't even know, and there's an even bigger spike in revenue that day that isn't accounted for as either one.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week, and unfortunately, apologies to everybody. It turns out that those Hangouts are not live yet, and it's because there's like a kind of a timeout between uploading and pushing publish and all that, and I'm going to fix that this afternoon. So you're actually going to find that last week's, week before, and this week's are all going to go live sometime today. I'm just saying.
Like magic.
Yeah, like magic. Not so much magic, more like TDS.
Very distinguishable from magic, actually.
Yeah, it's very much distinguishable from magic.
There is a man behind the curtain.
They're the opposite of magic. So let's do this. Let's go around, kind of curl across the panel here and wrap this one up. I'm doing a stop presenting on you, Dan, because the Hall of Mirrors is really disturbing. Actually, that's even more disturbing than the Hall of Mirrors. Now, not only is there no color, there's no light either. That's really spooky. This looks like an old witch, Hitchcock movie or something. Anyway, so let's go. That really improved things. Great, Dan. And so
just trying to shed some light.
Yeah, shed some light. So let's go left to right here. So Corey, Dan's presentation. Anything to add here before we close out?
The only other thing is it looks like we're going to start seeing Instagram targeting here very shortly.
Ah.
Which is awesome.
So and that's a couple things we've been talking about internally is both the possibility of doing Twitter targeting for our content clients and Instagram as well. So those are both kind of on the table, right?
Yep.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh, I guess two other things in terms of what Dan presented, and Dan talked about this as well. But just a reminder and a couple examples. I've used this same process to amplify press releases to news people. So that you pay money to get the press release pushed out, and then you also amplify it on Facebook to push it out to additional news people. I've also used this for YouTube videos, where you publish the YouTube video, email the YouTube video out, as well as amplify the YouTube video to your audience.
And in fact, Don Crowler spoke about that years ago, about the wanting to make that happen all within like this the 15 to 30 minute time span, because I think it was about YouTube specifically.
Well, if you can get a lot of views within the first 48 hours, your video can actually get featured.
Yeah. And that was the thing. It was about compressing it. So now, instead of drilling it out over 3 or 4 days, you want to make sure you bunch it up, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's for all those who are doing YouTube videos.
Take something that's a little bit viral, and smear that virus all over all the doorknobs, by amplify. I'm sorry, Leslie. I was trying to come up with a good metaphor, and I was only off by probably a little bit, but
after 10.
But well, the fact is, if you want something to catch and go hot, Mark Joyner's talked about virality and kind of the math behind it. But one of the things that not a lot of people talk about is it's the intensity. And so if you can pack a whole bunch of activity and conversation about you into 30 minutes, every machine that's trying to figure out what's hot is going to say, "Holy cow, that's hot." How many times have you and I put pages into the Alexa top 10, right? The hot URLs on the web. Every time we've done a coordinated mailing campaign, for a little while you're the busiest page on the internet.
Right. Yeah.
So
last. Yeah.
We all know that I haven't tested this, but it's worth testing. Is boosting content to people that like Reddit, because Reddit is a hot space for shared content. So if you can get those, people
actually, we talked about
Reddit,
that in LL2, targeting those people. But we talked, back then, right? We had to target them based on, we tried to get them to be in our Twitter audience. We tried to get them to be, connected to us on Facebook. But now, you could just take people that are in that subsegment that likes Reddit and bam, make sure that those people see it 100 times.
Yeah, let's see if we can figure out an audience to do that with as a test. So, Michelle, what else you got?
Well, I think, and additionally, you're talking about these flash sales. If you're doing stuff along with this stuff and you have an in-house play or a brick-and-mortar place, one of the beautiful things about doing a lifetime campaign is you could run an ad for 5 hours. It doesn't have to be a day. Mm-hmm. And so we've done these same kind of campaigns to amplify a special event, but we also have the ad turning off at 45 minutes before the event's over, so that so that you're not wasting ad budget, and then you get $5 or $10 compressed into 4 hours of ads instead of 24 hours of ads. And so same thing. So it really it's remarkable the way you can twist this if you just put a little noggin juice to it. So
noggin juice?
Noggin juice.
Noggin juce.
You just smear that all over the doorknobs and make everybody smarter.
Yeah, I knew
exactly.
I could see that one coming. Okay, great. An image I didn't need. All right, so great. Noggin juice on the
You haven't been to a school in a a time. I just see those children as just delightful little germ bags.
They are.
With
trying to sneeze on me.
I think that's probably enough noggin juice on the doorknobs for this. Okay. So I don't think it's like if we can wrap this up in the next couple of minutes. What do we have a topic for? Actually, TBD seemed to work great. By the way, I'm just saying.
Just again.
Yeah,
this is very, very popular. A huge crowd here to learn about TBD.
TBD. TBD is great.
We emailed out the title of last week's session with the description.
With the context of this one,
actually email what we're doing.
You don't have to actually be good at this, by the way. I'm just saying.
Oh,
Clearly.
More important to take massive action.
Yeah, massive action. But yeah, we will come up with some stellar replacement for TBD next time. Maybe we'll use hay, and that works for subject lines.
Hey,
actually,
Bob.
Leslie, I'd like to just cover the audience building campaign template because you and Corey are doing, or let's face it, Corey's the one doing this operation, not you.
Yeah.
But
I'm just explaining.
I like to pretend you're helping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But walk through that as a general template, and then talk about kind of how that fits with the content marketing that you guys do. 'Cause I think one of the things that it's really hard for people to understand is kind of the difference between I'm doing content to target keywords and I'm doing content to target people.
People, right? Yeah, people.
But when you see what people do when you show them the kind of content they like, if you just serve the audience that you're after, the numbers are crazy.
Well, all right. Well, let's plan on that then. So next week is going to be about audience building, and and then kind of peripherally how it relates to doing that using content marketing, which is kind of how you build audiences with content, by the way. So great. All right. Thanks everybody for showing up. Once again, we're sometime later this evening after an hour of download, an hour of upload, and mashing around on YouTube. We'll get the last, this one and the last two Hangouts up on the correct channel, and I apologize for the workaround that we're doing here. And then we'll see you next week at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Tuesday, and we'll talk about audience building and how it can benefit your business. So, great. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.